Well, welcome again to Music with Tony. I'm Tony, your host, and appreciate you joining in this day. And we're going to be going through some music theory today, going through another scale, and I'm going to show a few chord formations, and also I'm going to show some of the chord formulas as they call them. So it's the numeric, like a 1 3 5 or 1 flat 3 5, and what they mean. So I'm going to go over a little bit of that today. And I have a few songs I'm going to share. And so we're going to kick it off with the song here. And this one is an instrumental song that I wrote. And it's like a tempo change song. So I swap tempos 3 different points, and I kind of swap back and forth with them too. So it's just kind of a fun little jam. And then, I just kind of swap. So it kind of goes from slow, medium, fast to slow, and then medium to slow, or medium to fast, kind of whatever I feel like doing. It's just kind of the format of the song. So I actually don't have a name for this song. So we'll call it let's see here. I'm not sure. We'll get back with you on that one. So here we go. kind of just one of those things that can go on and just flipping back and forth. And yeah, I don't know. Again, this is something I like to do things outside the box, and I like to just try things and do goofy things. And this is one of those things. It's like, well, I've never had a song where I change tempos like that in one song. So I figured I'd try something different, and it's kind of cool. So it's fun, little creative jam thing, you know. So, all right, well, let's get into some of the music theory here today. I'm going to go through the key of C. So I'm going to start off with the circle of notes today. So what we have, we're going to be starting off in C. So this is the circle of notes. And so all the ones I have circled are the key of C. So it's going off the root. So the root, R means it's just the first one. But it's like the core of the sound of this chord. So the root is going to be 1, which is C. And then we're going to do a whole step. So we'll start off with our C and then do a whole step from here. So that's one whole step. Then there's another whole step. And then from there is a half step, which is the F. And then a whole step from there, which is a G. And then a whole step from there, which is an A. And then another whole step, which is B. And that puts us right back to the beginning again. And it just keeps going round and round and round, you know. So it's kind of a cool thing. It's something that once you learn all the notes that are in, you know, the 13 notes that create the scales, you can pick any one of those and use this formula, which is right here. I'll show you my other teaching paper. It's a little bit more larger and descriptive, but so this is C. And here is the layout of the C scale. So we have the 1, which is the root. So that would be C. The second, we're going to go a whole step from there, which is a D. So then we're going to go another whole step, which is an E. Then the half step from there, which is an F. And a whole step from there, which is G. And then another whole step, which is A. And then another whole step, which is B. And that winds us right back up to C. So again, it's just kind of like, it's just repetitive. And once you really get to know it, then you can start laying out the formulas. Like when you're playing a C chord, you can actually, like with, here, I'll show you, I got it written out here. So we have the C chord here. So this is for the C chord. And so I modified my drawings a little bit. So now any numbers you see up here, that's the fret it's going to be. So this is 3rd fret. And then here on the black dots I have, the numbers are the finger notations. So this being 1, 2, 3, and then 4. And now some of these you can play multiple different kinds of fingerings. Like in E minor, you can play that a few different ways. You can play it with your 3 and 4. You can play with your 2 and 3. You can play it with your 1 and 2. You know, you can. So there's variations. It depends on what you're comfortable with. And one thing I noticed and have learned over the years is that when I'm playing chords like that can have multiple, you know, where you're playing different fingers, like fingerings for it. It depends on what chords you're coming from and what chords you're going to. It makes a difference. And sometimes it just makes it easier to do different fingers because you're coming to another chord that would be easier to get to. So that's something to keep in mind too. And so you can get creative too. It's your comfortability and you're the one playing. So it's going to be, you know, what you're comfortable with. But chords like this C is pretty basic, that this is the fingering of it. Because there's really not any other way to play it. And you can see what I mean, like when you try to play it with different fingers, it's not going to happen for this particular chord. So what we have here, so the E string is muted. So this X over here, there's going to be X's and O's. X's are the muted, so they are not played. Then the open, O is for the open, so it's just an open string. And so you'll play 5 strings on this one, which starts with the fingering. So I'll lay this out for you here. So, so this is a C. And it's a relatively easy chord to play. It's open and there's not a lot of fingers getting in the way of each other, compared to like other chords that you know, they kind of get in the way and you're playing chords and then you're hearing sounds like this. You know, it makes it difficult. This is a pretty easy chord. You're just pressing down, and that's what it should sound like. Nice clear tone. And that's a C. Then also I have, for chords, we're going to do I'm going to dive into the bar chords just for a moment here after I show you the C major 7th. So this is a C major 7th, and this also is one of my favorite chords. And there are multiple ways to play this. I like playing this version, but I like adding in actually also the G note up on the sixth string. It makes a nice full sound, and I'll show you in a minute when I go to do the sample. So here again, we got your first finger, and then your second finger. And again, you can play, because it's 2 strings, you can play different voicings for it, like with your fingering, but it's all about what's comfortable for you, and you'll get your own groove as you start playing, you know, different chords and you know, figuring out what's comfortable for you for the fingerings. So here the E string is muted, and then so here we got this string is open, which is our that's our G string, sorry, and then our E string is open. So, and the B also. So, so that's going to sound like this. Chords being a little bit noisy today. So it's going to sound like. So I'll play the C and then I'll play this, the C major 7. So this is the C. And if you're going to the C major 7th, all you have to do is lift up your first finger and it goes right to it. So it's really, you know, an easy switch to play. And I love the sound of the major 7th chord. It's just something like, it's kind of jazzy, but it's also kind of like smooth. It's got a nice smooth tone to it, especially when you're like picking through, you know. It's just so nice. And then you start moving around to different voicings, like this is a B flat major 7th, you know, and then you can switch. Here's a C major 7th, another way of playing it, but bar chord. So I like to sometimes switch from the C major 7th to a minor. It's got a cool feel to it. Anyway, that'll come down the road, so just sharing you with some of the chords. So yeah, so we got the C, then the C major 7th. So I'll show those two again. So here we have the fingerings for it, and so there's the fingering for it, and then what you're picking through. And remember, X's are muted strings, and O's are the open string. So that's the C, and this is so the formula for a C major, this is called just a C, is a 1, 3, and 5. So that's the formula for a major chord. So here with the C major 7th, same thing. You can just follow the fingerings on here, and this here is a 1, 3, 5, and a 7. So you go back to your scale. And so you figure it out, all the notes that are in your scale. And so from here, you can figure out everything else. So the formula is a 1, 3, 5, 7. So what you do is just draw from this. So you have your 1, here's your 3, here's your 5, and here's your 7. So your 1 is the C, the 3rd is the E, then we got the 5th, which is the G, and then the 7th, which is a B. So yeah. So yeah, it's actually a pretty easy method when you start getting used to, when you learn your 13 notes and then you learn, your scales. So each note has a scale to it, which is considered a major scale. That's what this pattern is. There are many different ways, there's different kinds of scales, but this is a way you can figure out anything, any chords you want with this, and through the formulas. And so I actually do have a formula sheet that I came up with. Not that I came up with, but it's common, common chords and the formulas for them. So this is the chord chart formula. So a major is going to be a 1, 3, 5. A minor would be a 1 flat 3, 5. Then you have your 2 or a 2 sus, is the technical name. I just call it a second, but it's a 1, 2, 5. And then here is your sus, which is what I consider a sus, suspended, is the 4th. So it's a 1, 4, 5. And this goes really good. The 1, 4, 5 goes great with the major. So when you play those two together and you kind of like right after another, and it has a very cool sound to them. And they like just shake hands. They fit so well together. And then here we have the circle represents a diminished. And so the diminished chord is a 1, flat 3, flat 5. And then an augmented, which is represented with the plus sign there, is a 1, 3, sharp the 5th. And then we have the major 7th, which is a 1, 3, 5, 7. And then we have a 7th diminished, which is a 1, a dominant 7th, which is the 1, 3, 5, and then flat 7th. And then here we have the diminished. They consider it a half diminished. It's a 1, flat 3, flat 5, flat 7. And then here we've got a minor 7th. So that's going to be a 1, flat 3, 5, flat 7. And then the 6th is a 1, 3, 5, 6. And this is the minor 6. The 6th and the minor 6 are probably two of my favorite chords. They're great jazz chords to play the voicings, like root of the 5th, playing the G, playing the 6, and the minor 6 are just has a cool tone. I'll play a few. And so the formula for that is 1, flat 3, 5, and then a 6. So this is a basic formula for most of the chords that you're going to be playing. And you can figure out any chord through your scales, and you can figure out your scales through the circle of notes of what I showed you. So every episode, I'll be going through that, and we can go from there. And so, any questions on that at any time, please feel free to send an email to me, and I would be glad to get back with you and share whatever questions you have concerning that. And yeah, and so it's a pretty easy system. I know it seems complicated and I'm probably throwing a lot out, but it's actually pretty easy once you get to know how it works and then it's like it improves your playing a lot, and it will improve your playing and it improves your skill set, because now you'll look at the fretboard as knowing, where your notes are, and where you can go, and different ways to play and different variations of chords, where you can play, the same chord but kind of all over the place. Like this is a G, so is this, and then there's also the bar chord G. Let's see here, which would be here. So that's the bar chord. So one more thing I wanted to show you was the actual bar chord, and this is considered a movable bar chord. So you can play anything on this. So this is the C bar chord, and this would be on what they call the root of the fifth. So this is the fifth string right here. So this would be muted. Your E string would be muted, and then here you have your first finger, which covers all the way down, and then your third finger. Now, some people play this where they actually do the second, third, and fourth finger here, but it's whatever you're comfortable with. There's no right or wrong with it. As long as you can play it, that's what's important. So I like to bar them, with my first and third, because it's easy for me. I got short, stubby, chunky fingers, so if you got really long fingers, then it might be easier to actually do that, like do your second, third, and fourth, and then bar. So I'll show you what this is, and then once you learn this bar chord, it's cool. So it should sound like this. So this is a C bar chord. Then the other, this is muted, this is muted. And then if you want to slide up to a D, you just move it up 2 frets. That's a D, and then a E, and then F. It takes a lot of strength in your fingers too. It's going to take some time for you to get a clear sound, because you're barring, multiple strings with one finger, and then here you're playing, you're barring three notes with one finger. So it might take you a little bit to get the little tweaks out where you're not muting out the strings, but it'll take time. But you can do it. It just takes practice, and so this is cool because this is a movable pattern that you can use this anywhere you want. So if you know where you're going, if you want to do C, B flat, then D, then to E flat. And that's open. So, all right, well, so that is going to wrap up our theory for today. So if you have any questions, again, you can just email, and hopefully I've made this clear. It's a pretty easy system. It really is. I know I've said it already a few times, but it is, and it will help you in your playing and in whatever you play, whether you're playing piano, whether you're playing, any stringed instrument. You can figure out what the notes are and how to do leads and how to play the chords, and it's just memorizing sometimes different fingerings on different instruments like mandolin or ukulele. The tuning is different, but it's still the same theory, same music theory. So yeah, well, I was going through some music last night, and stuff that I actually haven't looked at in a very long time, because I got this folder, and it's actually an old picture album from it must be from like the 80s. I mean, it's kind of cool, but that's what I put all my music in. So a lot of times with the songs, I've handwritten them, and then I'll go through later and type them nicely, so that if I ever got in a situation where people would like to play along, they could have the notes, and where a lot of the stuff is in my head, so people don't really know, so it's anyway, I was looking through this book, and I was just looking through some of the songs that I've written throughout the years, and I liked writing a lot of songs for people too. I've got funeral songs, and I've got wedding songs, and songs for friends that I wrote, just to encourage them, or just to let them know I was thinking about them, or whatever, I like writing songs for people. And that's funny, back in the old days, not like I'm really old, but, back in the landline days where everybody had the answering machines, I would call and I would leave a music voicemail. So I would just play, just leave a voice just leave a voice message with my guitar, and it's always cool. People really like that. It was relaxing, and usually I'd max out whatever the tape was. I'll leave a nice long message. So yeah, those are fun times. It's technology has changed a lot, and yeah, I was just talking with my dad the other day, and we were talking about party lines. How a lot of people don't know what party lines are anymore. When I was a teenager, I lived in Upper Michigan, and we were way out in the country, and we had a party line with 3 different houses. And so the one house was a teenage girl who was about my age at the time, and so she was always on the phone. And it was weird because you had to get on, and there's a courtesy factor of, like, if you're trying to use the phone and you pick up the phone and you could hear somebody talking, it's, you didn't want to be rude, but on the other hand, it's like when you do it 3 or 4 times and somebody's still on it, it's like, okay, how do I do this nicely? And so you just ask nicely, and everybody who was on the party line knew, they all obviously knew they were all on the party line. So, but it was fun, like stuff like that. I have memories that, that stuff's not around anymore, with all the technology we have and cell phones. So, but it's cool, just happy memories. And I'm sure a lot of you remember those days too, the party lines. And yeah. So there's a song I'm going to do now, and I've walked through, like a lot of us, we walk through hard things in life, and sometimes difficult times that really cripple us for a while. Maybe it's something physically, health-wise, or it's something where we lose somebody in our life, and we don't really know, what to do. And I know for me, it's been God in my life, and He has strengthened me and gotten me through so many times that I just didn't know what to do, and I would have given up if I didn't have Him in my life. And I'm so grateful, because the love that He's shown me is not the love that I heard about who God was when I was, younger. Sometimes, I had this impression of who God was. He was just kind of sitting up there and, just making things difficult for people, and it's like, it's so not the truth. He loves people. He really does. And it's hard to understand when bad things happen and you're wondering why did God allow this. And it's not always a straightforward answer or what we want to hear or understand, but I do know that God is faithful, and He doesn't hurt us. He embraces us and He loves us. And it's tasting of that love has changed my life to a point where it just has completely consumed my heart. And the Bible talks a lot about love, actually more than it's amazing how much it actually talks about love and how we're supposed to be kind to each other and share that brotherly love and come alongside when somebody's weeping. You come alongside them and weep with them, or if your brother or sister's laughing, you come along and you laugh with them. It's we're share each other's emotions in hard times. And you see that, especially when a disaster comes along, that people come together, they bind together, and they bond, and they help each other, and they show that kind of love, And I think it's just really fascinating, and really wonderful. I mean, so this song is kind of talking about some of those things, like hard times. And it's interesting because this song, when I wrote it, everything was going really good in my life. Like, I wasn't having any issues, or big things hadn't happened yet that totally flipped my life upside down. And it's almost prophetic in a way, because years later when I look through the lyrics of this song, I'm like, wow, this really speaks volumes to me, more now than when I did when I wrote it. And it's called When the Storms Come In. when the storm's coming, oh yeah, yeah. When the winds of change blow through my life, when the rain comes and washes me away, and all I have is you, oh Lord, I will trust in you. I will trust in you. I will trust in you with all of my life. When the hardness in my heart doesn't seem to go away, when I can't smile because of circumstances in my life, when I feel low, you gently lift my head. When I feel I can't carry on anymore, I will trust in you. I will trust in you. I will trust in you with all of my life. Learning love, kindness, and patience, we're waiting for you. We're hoping for the promises are written deep in my heart. There's no distance that can keep me from you. La la la, la 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 la. I will trust in you. I will trust in you. I will trust in you with all of my life. Song after song, I find their meaning. We're pouring out what's inside. Look, and you share my heart. The trials of life bring pain and somehow joy. My eyes and my heart will be on you all my days. Trust in you. I will trust in you. I will trust in you with all of my life. Well, thank you for joining me today, and I hope that you can learn something out of what the stuff I shared today with the music theory, and just enjoyed some music, and go out there today, and well, today's going to be a hot one. I think it's like mid-90s today. But the sun is shining, and it'll be a good day today. But maybe go to the park for a while, sit on a bench, watch some water. Watch some water flow through the rocks and streams. Just simple things in life. things to look forward to, Some birds playing in the air, singing their songs. You see the squirrels running around. And if you need prayer for anything, please feel free to email me, and I will make sure that your needs get prayed for. And, if you're going through a hard time in your life right now, and you're not really sure, about this whole God thing, ask Him. Because He's the only one who can show you who He really is, We all have our own experiences in life, and God is one who, it's personal. So even if you don't believe and you're like, I don't know about this God thing, it's okay. And I can tell you that if you ask Him, He will show you. He did it for me, and I didn't even ask Him. He just revealed Himself to me, and I find that very amazing, because that was the last thing I was looking for, to be believing in Jesus and God and all that stuff, but yet it's the best decision I ever made, and I look back and I wouldn't do anything different. He's been so faithful through the years, and He'll be faithful to you too. And He says, even if you have the faith of a mustard seed, you can come, and mountains shall be moved. So don't be discouraged. So if you're having a hard time, you can email me for prayer and call out to God.